Can you be armed and glamorous too? We'll talk about it. Hello and welcome to Fashion Bites. I'm Ellen Byerrum, author of the Screwball Noir, Crime of Fashion Mysteries, featuring Lacey Smithsonian, a fashion reporter in Washington, D.C., the city that fashion forgot. Today, I am delighted to announce that the reissue of Armed and Glamorous, the sixth book in my Crime of Fashion Mysteries, it is available in ebook on various platforms, including Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, and Kindle. It is not yet out in paperback, but stay tuned. And feast your eyes on this fabulous new cover. Designed by Bob Williams, it is one of my favorites. I love it because it has a noir feeling to it, which is perfect for screwball noir. As a matter of comparison, this is the old book, and you can see the previous cover on our screen. When I publish or republish a book, I like to talk about that question that writers generally hate. Where do you get your ideas? Obviously, the answer is everywhere. When I wrote this book, I called on my own experiences in private investigation school in Virginia. Yes, I went to PI school and had a wonderful time. I always thought it would be fun to take a PI course, and some years ago, when I found myself between jobs, my friend Barbara said she would take a private investigation course with me. I wasn't rolling in cash at the time, but I closed my eyes and took out my credit card, and off to PI class we went. The first thing I noticed was a sign tacked on the wall: "No loaded weapons in the classroom." I knew it was going to be great and offer a unique insight to my writing. The course proved informative as well as hilarious, with an instructor who was overly dramatic, a friend who couldn't resist pushing his buttons, and an inept surveillance exercise which we had to do over. That class proved so inspiring to me that I wrote a comic play, which is available through Samuel French, and that class is still inspiring Lacey Smithsonian. With each book, I learned something new to write about, some piece of fashion history, some new character, some new aspect of American life. So what does a PI wear? While they don't care a lot for fashion and they have to blend in with their surroundings, some of them choose a khaki vest with many pockets. It's handy for all those things they need, like a tape recorder and camera batteries, a notebook and pens. They also keep a go bag in their cars with clothes and basics they might need for an extended surveillance. Each book delves into a different aspect of Lacey Smithsonian and explores another fashion-related plot. Armed and Glamorous reflects Lacey's interest in learning new skills by taking a course in private investigation. She wants to know more about what her private eye boyfriend, Vic Donovan, does for a living, and she wants to improve her odds at the paper for getting a better beat and being taken more seriously. My inspiration didn't just come from that PI class. This wonderful vanity case belonged to my husband's late aunt. Open it up, and you have all the vintage accessories you need for an overnight trip in a previous decade. This case is full of pretty items like a mirror, combs, brush, and boxes, including one for your toothbrush. This case grew into an important makeup case that I wrote about in the book. Of course, I made it a little bit better and invented a famous makeup case Louis Vuitton had made especially for Rita Hayworth at Orson Welles' request. My fictitious case has a hidden compartment for Rita's very round natural pearls, which are more impressive than my own. And as a side note, Rita Hayworth once modeled a dress made entirely of pearls. It was the world's most expensive dress at the time. When writers settle down to write, after all the obligatory procrastination, they take inspiration from a multitude of ideas, memories, characters that have crossed their lives, overheard conversations, and more. They put them all in a blender with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, hours of work, and a ton of butt glue, and come up with a book. So pearls, a Louis Vuitton case, private investigation, and a new exhibit at a fashion museum in D.C., as well as a pink collar code devised by Lacey's friend Brooke, all make it into Armed and Glamorous. And now I will read a bit from the opening. No loaded weapons in the classroom. The handwritten note was the first thing that caught her attention as she strolled into class one blustery Saturday morning in January. Lacey Smithsonian, fashion reporter for the I Street Observer, took a seat at the table in the front row. The warning notice was taped to the classroom door, and it made her wonder. Were loaded weapons an everyday problem here? Was someone likely to draw a loaded pistol in the middle of a lecture and shoot himself in the foot? Or worse, her foot? Was taking this class such a good idea after all? No loaded weapons? Is that sign really necessary? Lacey pointed to the door. The instructor sat at the desk in the front of the room reading the Washington Times, the District of Columbia's conservative daily newspaper. He took his time before looking at Lacey. He put down his newspaper and sized her up. A big guy. Bud Hunt was rumpled, crumpled, and cranky, but he was a bona fide private investigator, and he was the class instructor. Like this one. He smoothly drew a large black pistol from the back of his waistband, dropped the clip to unload it, racked the slide, and locked it open, and set it in front of him. Lacey nodded. Like that. Nah, y'all can bring your guns to class here. There was general laughter from the other students taking their seats. I just have to post a notice for liability. Insurance. Just don't shoot anybody in my class, okay? You plan to shoot somebody, take it outside. Hunt slipped the clip into his pocket, reholstered his now unloaded pistol, and stood up. Everybody locked and loaded? More laughter. If you haven't guessed already, I'm Bud Hunt. You're whoever you are, so let's get this show on the road. So this is Bud Hunt, Lacey thought. Vic warned her the guy was a character. Hunt passed around an attendance sheet for them to sign. There were nearly a dozen students in the class of wannabe PIs, mostly men, a couple of women, one Lacey Smithsonian. The room was chilly, but Hunt didn't seem to feel it. He wore a thin blue work shirt with the sleeves rolled up to display his well-muscled arms. On his wrist was a large watch with a round, complicated face. He clipped his cell phone to his belt like a gun. When it buzzed, he looked at it, tapped it, and reholstered it like a pistol. Hunt proceeded to spell out the whys and wherefores of the first session. Gumshoe 101, he called it. His welcoming speech seemed designed to discourage them from ever coming back. They had signed up for 60 hours of class every weekday evening for 2 weeks, plus all day for 2 Saturdays and another half day to wrap it all up. Hunt made it sound like boot camp. Someone behind Lacey tried to lighten the mood with another question. Was private investigation just like the movies, he asked? And would they have exotic clients? Like the movies, oh yeah, just like the movies, Hunt laughed. And your clients? Let me tell you something about the clients in this business. Most of them come to you because they have screwed up their lives. He stared down his students, enjoying this well-practiced speech. Give them half a chance and they will screw up yours. Never trust the client. Some are okay, but others are lunatics, and it's hard to tell who's who. And that's the fun part. Hunt paced the room right past Lacey, but he looked over her head and directed his remarks to the male students in class. That was all right with her. She wasn't there to be the center of attention. Hunt had already had some fun at her expense. She knew that was all right, too, for the moment. Always better to let them start by underestimating you. Her notebook was open, but the page was still blank. She was waiting for the good stuff. I've had clients try to burn me, break my cover, just to see if they could do it, Hunt continued with relish. Idiots. They try to follow you on surveillance, try to show they can outsmart you, like they could do your job for you. He allowed himself a small smile. Then they want to be a big shot. They tell people how they put a private eye on the case. People who should not even know there is a case. The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and maybe the drug dealer next door. Your clients share it with the world, and somebody blows your cover, and then they say, well, I didn't tell nobody. He shook his head. You warn them if they want this investigation to be a secret, they better damn well keep it a secret. And then you got other kinds of trouble. Hunt was just getting warmed up. He rubbed his hands together. Female trouble. Maybe the client is a woman. She's messed up her life, usually with a little help from a man or 2 or 10. Maybe she's in a nasty divorce. She's vulnerable to you because you are helping her. You're vulnerable to her because you're a moron. She's your damsel in distress. You're her knight in shining armor. Instant romantic entanglement. She thinks she's in love. She thinks it's an old movie and she's Lauren Bacall and you're Bogart. But she is not Bacall. She's big trouble. And take it from me, buddy, you're no bogey. That's all I have for now. If you want to know more about me or my books, check out my website at ellenbyerrum.com. I'm also on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel. That way you won't miss any. Feel free to share. This isn't a secret society, and I'll see you next time. Bye.